So Alessandro, from our perspective over the last few years, we saw different trends related to the publishing and specifically the book printing industry. I can mention a couple. Several years ago, we saw the e-books coming over, creating some challenges to book printers, but we see this trend stabilizing and actually decreasing in some countries. From the other side, more recently, we saw a new wave of competition, let me say, coming from different segments of entertainment. Everything is coming on demand, music, TV shows, movies, even gaming. So there is a lot of entertainment content for consumers. Then during the pandemic, we actually saw a tendency for consumers to buy more books, and actually a lot of them being printed, with the need also to disconnect, to go offline. But obviously they still want those content on demand as soon as possible. So do you see this tendency as well, and how do you try to address it with Rotomail?
Yes, Stefano, I fully agree with you. So we started our common project in POD in 2007. So in 2007 at the time, and then in 2010 when we started with our software solution platform, we approached the market. There was no book BOD production in Italy. So year after year we continue to grow. And as you told, during the pandemic we have the best 2 years in growing in Book of One production. A lot of new publishers, they approach this kind of philosophy, business model we can say. Because production is a kind of production, but is more a business model. So what we provide to our customer is a platform that can handle all automated, easy and smart. We have a nice collaboration with the main book distributor in Italy, Messaggeria Libri. Thanks to our platform, all the publishers that works with Messaggeria Libri can store their files inside our repository or a virtual warehouse. Then we receive daily orders from the distributor, and we print and deliver in traditional way. So this is something quite different from the rest of the publishing market. And thanks to the software, we also rationalize run production. So software is a very important part of our business. Of course, we need also the right finishing, and together to the Libra 800, we can run a high variability of book production.
So Alessandro, you mentioned the distributors. Do you have also direct relationship with publishers from one side and with the end user from the other side, normal consumer like us?
Yeah, we have three main business models. So one is the POD with the distributor. So we receive a whole order from distributor. The other is a direct connection with publisher that can accede to our platform and print what they need to print in a traditional way. Then we have also connection with the self-publishing platform. In this case, we produce and we deliver directly to the final customer. So the process is really complete. We manage one by one order and then deliver to the final customer. We also have a big collaboration with the Ingram. Ingram is one of the main book distributor, content distributor worldwide. So we import in Italy a catalog of more than 2 million titles, and we manage on demand today, every day, daily, we print like 5,000 books.
Today I am going to walk you through the T250 HD press that I have right behind me. So the paper goes inside the press through this side here into Arch 1, where we have our high definition nozzle architecture printheads, special technology by HP, which features 2400 nozzles per inch and a very unique dual drop weight technology, which provides very good print quality and also a very wide gamut. And that's thanks to also HP unique brilliant inks. These inks have the special functionality, special feature of being able to print on a wide variety of medias, ranging from offset, uncoated, like for example this newspaper, to offset coated, like this 250 GSM coated offset paper without the need of any external primer, just by using our proprietary HP Optimizer ink. Once the image on side 1 is printed, the paper goes into the dryer so that this image is dried, and then the special paper path of this press makes the paper to turn, and it gets ready to be printed on side 2 with using exactly the same print heads and inks, and it goes through the dryer again so that the image on side 2 is also dried, and it will end up going out of the press through the top and going into the vision system. In the vision system, we have also very special functionality with our quick vision system, which allows to detect any missing information, missing ink, and if that happens, the operator will get a warning message so that he can decide whether to stop or not the press. Once that is performed, the paper will go into the moisturizer, where it will be rehumidified if necessary, and after that the paper will end up going into either the rewinder or finishing line if it's in line.
We choose, HP. We collaborate with HP since 2010. We have both page wide for printing content, and we use Indigo for covers. They upgrade their machine to manage also POD. So they realize a variable frame for a page wide and also for Indigo. Both machines, 10 years ago, they cannot run POD. Now they can. So this is something really interesting for us, and we can run our production. Of course, without the Libra, then can manage the high variability, we cannot use our software capability 100%. So thanks also to the Libra, we can run very efficient.
So is the discussion over now? The digital printing and finishing is to a different level. Is this finally over?
I think that numbers talk more than the words. So we started 10 years ago from scratch, and today publishing segment in our company is around 40% of our income. So we can say that we have a big growing.
Let's start. We have the unwinder, which is loaded with a 20-inch or a 30-inch roll, and is printed with variable content, variable sheet length, variable booking position. And then we go to the cutter to cut and stack at high speed different book size to get a true book of one.
When customer comes to Rotomail, I always show how we control the production and where we print every single code in every single page of the books to be sure that we have the perfect match between cover and content. So that's really appreciated.
You're perfectly right. In book on demand, every book is a single copy. So it's absolutely important to keep track of it and make sure content and cover match perfectly, right?
Yeah.
So we collect the book size, different sizes, and we send it to the variable binder. We read again the code to make sure we identify the size of the book, and then the robo pick and place, after measuring the thickness at real environment, is positioned into the clamp. And then we go for the milling station, and then we get hot melt or POR. So every book can be really different one from the other. Well, Rotomail decided to have a roll fitting also for cover, and actually not only one unwinder, but two unwinders. So the cutter, which create the cover on demand, on the right size, actually can call them dynamically one unwinder with matte coating or the other unwinder with gloss coating. Yeah. So continuing, we get the cover moving through. This is cut, this is scored, this is side trim, and then it's matched as you was mentioning before. And then it's delivered to the binder. Actually, there is another feature which Rotomail decided to have, which is the flaps. So there is the possibility to cover.
In Italy.
So what I've learned over the years, Alessandro, in my experience, is that to do print on demand and book on demand, you really need an end-to-end solution.
So Stefano, are we the only customer that use Libra 800 in this kind of configuration?
Well, in this specific configuration, I would say yes. But that's also one of the...
good.
That's also one of the great plus, as we see, of Libra. Libra is a solution which can be configured in different ways. I'll give you a couple of examples. You chose to print 30-inch and 40-inch, also some 20-inch, therefore you needed the full width. Other customers just go for the 20-inch. Other customers do cut sheet. There is a possibility to have one input from roll or two input from rolls. So it's very much productivity-driven, print technology-driven, and the finishing, ultimate finishing desired, for instance, if you need the flaps, for instance, or not. So in this specific configuration, yes, but we have several installed worldwide, and customers are really trying to get to a similar positioning as Rotomail does of the very short run of order print on demand. Print on demand, book on demand is actually also one of the niche which Tecnau is addressing. Well, we're also addressing, of course, the short and medium runs with the different kind of technology, with the stream folder to produce book blocks. But definitely the Libra finds is a nice spot, a sweet spot between what we would say is one book, single copy, and 1,000 copies.
About Brilliant Inks, why are they important for us? Well, yes, of course. It's another step on the road for us, another important quality step. You can think back to 2016, we introduced our high definition nozzle architecture. That was an important quality step for us. Brilliant Ink brings us to another level again. Now we have this ability to print both on coated and uncoated offset stocks directly. We just use our optimizer fluid that's actually laid down with print heads. So optimizer is like our fifth ink, but it's like the one that you lay down first. You put it down just before you lay down the inks. So in terms of changing away from offset towards inkjet production, I mean, clearly in some parts of the market that process is already well underway. And you can look at the book market, how that's completely transformed over the last decade or so, now with very significant penetration of inkjet, up to runs of several thousand copies, but increasingly down to runs of one copy. So if we think about print to order, we see customers around the world increasingly use it to produce books in ones or twos. You increasingly have these very flexible finishing lines available that work very well with the presses and enable these very flexible production strategies, particularly as more and more book ordering moves online. So in order to be able to invest in a press like this one behind me, the T250, we would typically recommend that a customer has a base volume of at least 10 million A4 pages, or A4 equivalent pages every month. And for many of our customers, that tends to be in the form of one or two major applications. That might be large direct mailing jobs. It could be car manuals for a couple of different car manufacturers. It could be base volumes of books. But once customers have the presses, they then tend to experiment and to try to add different kinds of work. Perhaps they're moving work from other technologies that they have in their print shop. Perhaps they're using the press to do things that they weren't expecting to be able to do. And we've got some very nice case studies of customers that over the years have started out as production mailers and have ended up as print to order book printers, like in the Rotomail case that you'll see today. So yes, we certainly work with leading finishing partners like Tecnau. Actually, we're delighted just at the moment to have our first Tecnau line here in the Barcelona Demo Center, the Revolution 50. We're actually just been trained on it, we're just getting going, and so far are very satisfied with the performance.
It's a long story. It's a 20-year history of collaboration. So we started when we ran only transactional business. Before we started to produce books, we talked with Mr. DeMarco to ask him to realize a finishing line able to produce a book of one. We take a big advantage using Libra 800. Libra is a machine that can manage variable format, a lot of variable format, variable thickness, and variable, I can say, different cover finishing. So we have at least matte lamination and glossy lamination, and we can run together in the same book production. We also can manage book with flaps or without flaps. So it's really flexible. The book business, especially the book of one business, is still growing. In Italy, especially in Rotomail, I think today we are the main book of one supplier in Italy. We have a software solution, a software platform that can manage publishers, distributors, ebook shop, and thanks to this platform, volume are increasing. So this is good for us, but this is good also for Tecnau, because we have to install 2 new Libra within this year. There are book titles that publisher continues to print and they manage in a traditional way.
Right.
But for the back catalog, you need a system like a BOD, because this is the only way to keep alive all the publishing catalog.